Hey guys, Desolate Magic here, and this video is about the level up mechanic, and you're probably thinking, what is that? And if you've never seen one of these cards, these might be, well, a bit startling to you. But they're real. They were printed primarily in Rise of the Eldrazi, and since then we haven't really seen it back except in some reprint sets, I believe, and definitely Commander and some dual decks. So obviously it was, popular enough and powerful enough that they felt the need to bring it back. But the question is, should they actually really bring it back, like in Standard? Now that's a tough question because it's polarizing. Some people just don't like it because it's confusing. Other people say it's too much like an RPG. It's too Dungeons & Dragons. It's too, oh, I leveled up, I got XP. That's not Magic. Magic is a card game, which to me that's stupid. I mean, I guess, stylistic preferences, whatever, like everybody can have their own, but just from math appropriateness, power level, and fun, is this a good mechanic? Well, the best way is to just look at the variety of different types. So first we've got this one up on screen here, Enclave Cryptologist. Oh, by the way, I just found my license for Premier Elements, so that's why it doesn't say free trial on this video. Yay! Still without my main computer though, but mega thanks to everybody who helped me out on the live stream and Patreon and everything. You've actually just about paid for the whole shebang, so I am thrilled because I sure as crap can't afford it. So anyway, Enclave Cryptologist is a merfolk wizard that comes out for 1 blue mana, and then it has the ability level up. You pay 2, 1 blue and 1 generic. And the reminder text is, okay, pay 2, which is the cost of course, put a level counter on this. I love how they didn't say permanent, just on this. And then level up only as a sorcery. So you can't do this like in the middle of combat or in the response to you declaring it as a blocker or any of that craziness. And then, below that it says level 1 through 2 you gain this ability, then level 3 and above you have that ability. So does it start at level 0 or does it start at level 1? Because there is, 1 to 2 and it says 0, 1. As far as I can tell, the level equals the number of level up counters, so I'll say 0. Honestly, no idea, but let's go with that. So the first time you pay 2 mana, boom, it gains the ability tap, draw a card, then discard a card. Not bad, but not great. And then if you were to spend a total of, let's see, 1 to get it out, 2 to bring it to 1, 2 more to bring it to 2, and 2 more to bring it to 3, so 7, you can just tap and draw a card. I mean, that's powerful, but still, it's 7 mana, and it's still a 0-1. I mean, that is, ooh. So kind of in the middle, and honestly, the funny thing is the common ones are garbage, the uncommon ones are kind of in the middle, and the rare and mythics are completely out of control on power level. Well, imagine that. So next up, we've got Ikaral Outrider. He costs 2 as a human soldier, and his level up cost is 4. So you can't really just say, oh, I've got a couple mana left over that I'm not going to use. I'm going to level him up. Well, no, you got to have 4. You can't just partially pay for it. Apparently Wizards doesn't care about, gaining XP or gaining a half level. Come on, Wizards. So this appears to come out as a 1-2 for 2, so okay, whatever. And then as soon as it hits level 1, boom, 2/6 Vigilance. And then if you finally get to level 4, which is an additional 16 mana, it's a 3/10 with Vigilance. This card is a raging dumpster fire full of flaming garbage. So 18 total mana for a 3/10 Vigilant human soldier. Wow. And like I said, I mean, a lot of these were meant to just sit there, passively be what they are, and then they gradually improve over time because, oh, I didn't have any mana or I didn't need all my mana to spend on, something better. I had some leftovers. Not with this one, not 4 at a time. If you have 4 mana, I mean, it's let's just say it's less likely it'll be available. So let's jump to a mythic next. We've got Kargon Dragonlord. This card is crazy. So it comes out for 2, and you can level up for 1 single red, but it does have to be red, not any color. He starts out as a 2/2 for 2, Human Warrior, okay. And then he doesn't really change until you get into level 4, so okay, but it's 4 mana. And then he becomes a 4/4 flyer. So a 4/4 flyer for 2 is good, except it really actually costs you 6, minimum. Then if you get him to 8 or higher, flying and trample, 8/8, and basically fire breathing. You pay 1 red and you can boost his attack. That is like game-ending power. So you might be thinking, well, who would pay 10 mana for a flying, trampling 8/8 with fire breathing? That's actually somewhat reasonable if you ask me, but yeah, it's a lot. I mean, you could do better things with 10 mana, like summon an Eldrazi or something, but it's split between turns. That is the important part, or I should say it can be. And this is the definition of, oh, I had 2 mana left over during my second main phase. I don't have any plans for it. Cool, let's go. Level him up twice. Boom, now he's level 2. So you might throw him out as a 2/2 for 2, or, oh, I kind of need a flyer. Okay, let's try and get him there. And then accidentally get an 8/8 flying trampler. Like, just inadvertently, whoops, I guess I had a lot of mana available. Cool. So this is one of the more powerful ones, and this card is actually pretty heavily played in a lot of decks. So next up, this one's kind of interesting. It's more subtle. I mean, it's a mythic, but it's Lighthouse Chronologist. Now, this isn't just about, oh, look at me, my stats got better. Oh, look, I'm better at combat. Not every card works that way, so this is very, like, highly varied. This is a hard one because it's blue. If you've got mana left over in blue, it's because you're holding a counter spell, so whatever, assuming that's not the case. It's a 1/3 for 2 human wizard, and I noticed a lot of these are wizards. Level up for 1, that's cool, 1 blue, and then you get him to 4, he's a 2/4. Okay, nothing spectacular, but 7. Here we go. At the beginning of each end step, so yours and theirs, if it's not your turn, so in other words theirs, take an extra turn after this one. So you get an extra turn, and after the extra turn, you go to your turn, I guess. That might be flip-flop because of a weird rule, but doesn't really matter. So for every 1 turn they take, you get to take 2 turns. That's crazy. And also, he becomes a 3/5. I mean, that's reasonably hard to destroy, I guess. None of these have, like, hexproof. Well, actually, there is one with Shroud. So, I mean, yeah, it's basically 9 mana to get that high, but that's not that bad. I mean, for a recurring, unlimited extra turn, I guess. It's not chained in a row. Like I said, you take 2 for every 1 they take. But, yeah, I mean, this is a lot different. So, let's look at Jiraga Tree Speaker, because she's another very different one, another uncommon here. She's an elf druid, so not quite a wizard, but, well, not that dissimilar, honestly. So, you bring her out for 1, she's a 1/1, that's cool. Level up for 2, okay, but green's got mana. Get her just to level 1 and she becomes a 1/2, so okay. And you can then tap her to add double green to your mana pool. Not bad for 3 mana. I mean, there's a creature kind of like that right now in Standard. Only works for kicker spells. So I really like that. And then 5+, every elf you control has tap, add 2 to your mana pool. That may or may not be useful, and then she becomes a 1/4, so she ain't hitting that hard herself, but this is practically like an enchantment or something. I mean, this is, it's a creature, yeah, but you're going to treat it basically like an enchantment. So a couple more examples here. Next up, one of my favorites, Transcendent Master, a.k.a. the final boss at the end of Eternal Champions on the Sega Genesis. No, it's not called the, Master Drive or whatever Europeans call it. It's called the Genesis. Deal with it. Anyway, don't think it's really him, but this is a human cleric avatar. Yeah, if that doesn't tell you it's powerful, then, well, I can't help you at this point. So it's a 3/3 for 3 double white. Cool. Level up any color 1. Uh-oh. But then you have to get it to 6 to 11. So what they did is they made it cost a ton of mana to get to a higher ability, but it's very modular. It's any color 1 at a time. So you just... yeah, I'd say during your opponent's end step, but sorcery speed. So during your second main phase, you're like, I'm not going to use this 1 mana. Cool, let's toss it into a level up. Who knows? We'll see what happens. So if you get it to 6, which, okay, then you're up to like 9 mana total spent. Wow. It's a 6/6 with lifelink. That's pretty good. And then get it to 12. It's a 9/9 lifelinker with indestructible. Wow. And like I said, that's a darn lot of mana, but boy is it easy to pump it into him. I mean, he will level up real quick. Or slowly, and then, oh look, an endgame threat. That cost me 3 mana initially to get out. So instead of, oh, I hope I pull my cheap stuff early and my big, giant, expensive, stronger stuff later, and then you never do, this is both. You throw it out early, and then you just make it better. And that's why I like this mechanic a lot. So one more classic example of that is the 1-cost Student of Warfare. It comes out as a 1/1, and you can level it up for 1 white. If you even get to level 2, it's a 3/3 first striker, which is pretty good. I mean, you could do that on the turn it came out, reasonably. And then if you get it up to 7 or higher, double strike. Dang. Oh, and it's a 4/4, too. I mean, honestly, Adorn Pouncer is a better card, but if you were stuck playing with this... yeah, I mean, 7 mana plus 1, that's 8 mana. I mean, you wouldn't really pay, like I said, 8 mana for a 4/4 double striker, but if it's split between turns and you assure yourself you do not need that mana for anything else, it's like getting it for free. So it's somewhere in between. And like I said, it depends on the level up cost. I mean, you're not just going to have 3 or 4 mana laying around in most cases, but 1 mana, that is far more reasonable. So the big thing about level up is people hate it because they're like, oh, I put all my effort, all my mana, wasted a ton of turns worth of mana into this one creature, and then they destroyed it with like a 2-cost spell. Boom, it's dead, just like that. Boom, exiled, sacrifice, whatever, it's gone. And you put all that, resources and everything, because everybody talks about card advantage, getting the most bang for your buck. You can also destroy your opponent's mana retroactively. What did they spend all their mana on, If they spent, 9 mana on one card and you remove it, it's better than removing one that they paid 2 mana for, even if both of them are identical. Same stats, same, abilities and everything, which is obviously unlikely, but in this case, it's kind of not. If they spent mana on this, it's like an opportunity cost thing. They didn't spend it on something else, so blowing it up means that you cost them more value retroactively. That said, it does still come down to which permanent is better at the end of the day. Because that mana's already spent, it's already gone. The only advantage for the other player would be if they knew you were going to destroy it 5 turns from now and then didn't put the mana into leveling it up and just ignored it. Use the mana for something else and play the game differently, then they would have an advantage. So once it's already too late, it's like, yeah, I guess they shouldn't have wasted the mana on that because now they have a much weaker, lesser board state in theory. But then again, that's why I keep stressing, if you just have 1 mana left over, boom, level it up, for most of these 1-cost ones. So personally, I like it. It's like high risk, high reward if you really just want to dump something out for 1 or 2 and then level it up to oblivion and hope that they don't remove it, or much more realistically, since everybody has a little bit of removal in almost every deck, you just kind of, I'll passively put stuff into it. I'm not going to put all my, eggs in one basket, but if you got to finish up getting it to its top tier level, and you're just like, let's just dump 6 more mana into it, boom, and then you try and make it work. It's the same as, I'm going to take all that mana and cast a 6-cost spell or whatever, except it didn't cost you a card, and that's the thing. That's the really important thing. You take one of these 1-costs, and you're like, well, that sucks. And then you take a late-game super bomb, ultra threat, just, 4/4 double striker or whatever, and you're like, wow, that is some power. That is a finisher right there. Well, great. As I mentioned before, wouldn't it be wonderful if you got all your cheap stuff early game and all your expensive stuff late game? It never works that way, or at least not consistently or always. This guarantees it. It's a better card without having to actually physically draw a better card. So it's a better permanent, a better creature, a more damaging threat without having to go get it out of your deck, scry into it, draw it, hold it, recast it, get it countered, nothing. So, depending upon how you play it, and if you're like, I'm going to level all these up and run them over, and then they keep getting destroyed by 1 or 2 spells and your entire deck gets shut down, that's just bad card design. Or, on the flip side, I'm going to throw it out. I'm running Merfolk, I'm running Wizards, I'm running Druids, whatever. I'm running Elves. I'll see what happens, but I won't count on it, and then whoops, I accidentally won the game with it. That's the opposite. Of course I love having this in my deck. It's perfect. It's low pressure, and you never know. It's just an unknown threat that might pop up at any time. Who knows? So 2 very different outcomes, 2 very different philosophies on how good these are or aren't. And like I said, some of them are way better than others too. So it comes down to personal preference, whether or not you think these are good, or way more specifically, if you think they're good for a given deck that you own. It's very high risk, high reward, but I like that. It makes the game more dynamic, more interesting. And obviously, it's the opposite of cumulative upkeep, where it's not mandatory at all that you pay this. You can just ignore it, just leave it sitting there. Options and decisions, I like them. And anything that plays around, I'm just top decking lands. Oh, good, my deck stalled out and I'm doing nothing. If you have activated abilities to do with something on the field, good. That is an alternative to, or I should say, a rescue from top decking absolute garbage. So my final verdict is yes, I would love to see this in Standard. If they brought this back to Standard, it'd be so cool. I don't think they will because it's not a Ravnica mechanic. It's Rise of the Eldrazi, so it would be Zendikar, obviously. But it's not that specific. People can level up. Warriors can get better. Wizards can use better magic. It's not really like an Eldrazi mechanic or something. So could they add it? Yeah, I think they could get away with it. But people, some people hated it, some people loved it. I think the people who hated it are being irrational. I do lean towards the side of, throw it back in the game. I think it would be pretty fun. They'd have to keep it real reasonable, though. They don't want people to just, you know, run away with it. I mean, stuff like Banefire is bad enough when people put like 10 into it. If somebody was able to generate, you know, 15 mana and just level something all the way up right when it comes out, and it wouldn't really affect anything, you know, strategy-wise, or it's not like they had to sack all their treasures to do it. Like, right now, people can do that. They can generate that much mana with, like, Morrowind or Power Stone Geode or any number of different things. Oh my gosh, Cabal Stronghold, hell yeah. But you know, if any deck can, you know, generate 8 mana, they could bring out a hyper good Planeswalker, a like killer, like a 9-cost spell, like Rise of the Dark Realms, In Garruk's Wake, something horrific like that. So this would actually level up cards that instantly level up when you drop them in, I guess, because you have the rest of the mana. That's not really that broken compared to other things people could do with that much mana. So people complaining about it probably just lost to it, and then that left a bad taste in the mouth, and they never put it in their own deck. I think that's flawed reasoning, and I want to see it again. I thought it was really dynamic. So there is a rumor going around that Mark Rosewater himself hates this mechanic and never wants it to come back. Well, Mark, most people in the community hate you and wish you would never come back, especially after your energy debacle and, well, half the decisions you've made lately. So why don't we meet in the middle and you reprint Level Up? How about that? So what do you guys think? Was it fun if you played back then? Do you like it? Is it in your commander deck right now? Does it work? Does it not? Love it, hate it, both, love to play it, hate to play against it. You know, what's your story? What's your take on this? And is this your first time seeing this? And you're like, wow, I can't believe that's real. Leave any kind of thoughts down in the comment section. Thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll be able to draw a thumbnail in the GNU image manipulation program because my copy of Photoshop got epically screwed up for some reason when I installed Premiere. Well, Premiere Elements 15. Let's just say I know Adobe controls a little bit better. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next video.